So, hello and welcome to the third season of the Cyclist Amateur Tactics, and our team of cycling enthusiasts is now down to two, at least to two who actually take part in the races. We have made some nice progress in the past season, so let's see whether our two folks can keep the upward trajectory, and let's see how they're doing this time. So last time we finished around Highport and we got a level up out of it, so that's something we have to do, and it's Maxim. Okay, so he is fast enough because he has one things. We haven't run out of attack points, but we haven't gotten attack points back in some of the stage races, so one candidate could be recovery. Or we also have run totally out of energy, so more or a larger energy pool. So if we go for a recovery, what we'll get is a higher energy per turn usage, especially if we get low. And generally this would probably be the better idea. However, since we also have run out of energy pool already, and that would mean we would have run out of energy pool earlier in those cases, it's probably more sensible just to give him more energy, a bit more staying power in the race, and the next level up, if we get one, that would be then recovery 2. So that's what I'm going with. Looks unspectacular, but addresses one of the two shortfalls that we've had, running out of energy at the end of the stage. And this will then hopefully keep us in the race longer, especially if we are not using that much energy once we're getting low. But that's also why we have a reasonably high pool of attack points, and then we can draw on that and still have something left in the tank for the final sprint. And then, as I said, the next one will be then recovery up to 2. So that's probably doesn't really matter for the Arrow of Timur, although it's, I think, longer than in the past. But we still won't run out of energy. So, final race. So let's see whether we can score well again. So here we are, and I think for the first time among the top favorites, and we don't have the strongest competition either. So this looks pretty good. So pretty long and slight downhill, and that's where we will end. So I think one short of the maximum will take us through the climb. That's useful. One more short of the maximum, and we still can't finish. So we would have one more, which we don't have. So now, well, I think it makes sense to go that quickly at the start so that we can jump the hill. Maybe here? One. No, it's still it's one short here, and it doesn't make any difference. So let's stay with Artur Dimitrov. So Vladislav, I suspect, won't be able to jump. Nope, landing in the middle of. So then we can just be efficient. So let's simply follow Arthur. And here I'm going to jump to the bottom of the climb. So we have energy in us for one more full burst and a bit. So that's still... Yeah, that works. So Vladislav was one short of the maximum. And he seems to be doing pretty well compared to everyone else too. So, and cross the line in first place, although Arthur gave us a bit of a run for our money. So Vladislav can go all out here and then just crawl over the line, and that should be fine. And he actually is third, fifth, so others could go further, but still not bad. And I think much better than his past performance, although probably the level of opposition certainly helped us, that it wasn't overly tough. And a good team result from the bluish team, whoever that was, second and third. Yeah, so another win at the end of the season. Works for me. And then another fifth place as well. So yeah, a very nice points haul at the end, and the sponsor actually cares to an extent. So that was the season. And we got a level up for Vladislav to level 5. So that was nice and unexpected. Okay, what do we want to do with him? So he's reasonably fast, but not as fast as Maxim. We just gave Maxim a bit more base energy, and I think that's something Vladislav hasn't got in spades. The other option would actually be to give him 2 recovery, so that he can be a more consistent helper for Maxim when Maxim is on his fitness peak on the tougher stages. But we will probably then run into similar problems with him, that he might run out of energy in some stages earlier, although if he is a helper for Maxim, that doesn't matter if he burns out earlier. And if he isn't, then he has 3 races on his own where he's on the fitness peak himself. And that will alleviate that issue. So I think I'll go with recovery 2. Okay, what shall be his skill? So we don't need another time trialist. He's not the fastest, so there's probably not much use in putting him on sprint. We don't have that much cobble. Attack could be a worthwhile thing to consider nonetheless, since it may help on downhill stages, although which are often technical. But then we could also just go for downhill. I think that's a bit niche though. If we give him 2 in flat, then this will kill any aspirations he might have in anything mountainous, and Maxim certainly isn't the Boar Mountain Raider. So almost by exclusion principle, I'd say, let's give him 1 in mountain. So that if we get mountainous races or stages, then he can be reasonably competitive. And one thing he'd certainly need is a higher energy pool. But I'd rather have him as a consistent helper for Maxim instead of having to manage his energy levels all the time. And then simply we can earmark more energy pool for him for the next level up that he might or might not get in the scope of this Let's Play. This also means that we don't need Ulan anymore. And I think I know how to remove him from the team so that we're back to a 2-person team. And this season probably also was an exception that we didn't have anything mountainous or even something with more serious hills. So I suspect we will probably get something like this next season again, and then Vladislav is a bit of our a universal specialist, so he's both good in the flat and certainly better than Maxim in the mountains, and that he will then be able to stay in there through endurance. And of course I don't need to plan anything long term either, because that's also going to be his last level up in the scope of this Let's Play. So let's see how the season went overall. So much higher than last year, fantastic. And that also already a good position in the league. So even with a two-person team, because we didn't use Ulan at all, we were able to get pretty far. Sponsor is happy, that's good. And yeah, we are overall still weak, but we know that, that's the premise. So best results, interestingly, Hilda Vastuk went really well. Despite being on the hilly side, and as to be expected, Arrow of Timur, and then the Round the Lakes tour also went extremely well. So that's our top three, and then still reasonably okay races at the bottom. So no race where we didn't score at all. So also very, very nice. So let's go on to the next season. So here we are. And so Arrow of Timur, nice opener. A Bizarro Sprints again, obviously. Then only one choice, the Rising Sun Rush. Hilda Vastuk, or, and that's a bit more insane than last season, or Wilder Rundtour, which looks okay-ish. So one or the other. Weisshorn Challenge, which looks also pretty insane. Or the Vitesse Spring Open, with basically more or less the same stage here and here. So I think I go for the Weisshorn Challenge, and good thing we gave Vladislav one in Mountain, and if he can survive this, then I'm actually pretty happy. Ellisbury Cup or Naubat Classic will be probably a matter of where Vladislav will be on Fitness Peak. So either or. Southern Loop Classic or Road to Novobeskov. I think here I'll probably go with Novobeskov. Round Highport again. And I think since they went that well the last time round, another a Great Lakes tour, especially due to the time trial. And since the Hill and Valley tour is less appealing. So, team page. So what I think I need to do is remove one rider from the shortlist, and then I can move Ulan down. Yes, I can. Excellent. So what I also need to adjust is sponsor expectations. So very poor funding, and then low is fine. Does it matter in any way for races we're going to? So here I have Vastuk and Novobeskov. So with international average, I'm getting Rising Sun Rush. But with balanced average, I'm getting Vastuk and Novobeskov, and otherwise none of the races where we would be really good at are on the menu, so it doesn't really matter. So we actually have a few options, so it's worth taking a look at planning. So first, everyone again takes part in every race. And this may change. So I think Maxim is easy. So Bizarro Spurns, Arrow of Timur, and the Great Lakes Tour. So Vladislav with +1 in flat and +1 in mountain. Where do we want to put him? So Vastuk looks like a candidate for the minor fitness peak. So it's a bit of a pity, because I would really be interested to see how this works with +1 in mountain. So what I could do is something like this, and then maybe Novobeskov, or the Rising Sun Rush could also no, and then. So I want to have him in Vastu because that's, I think, a nice mixed profile, so we'll have always an advantage. So let's, this is just a matter of, this is a minor fitness peak on its own, and then we are not as good in the Weisshorn Challenge, or we actually go for the Weisshorn Challenge and see how good the mountain skill actually is, but I doubt that this will yield anything useful even on a major fitness peak. So what were the other options that we had here? So Ellisbury Cup or Naubat Classic and Southern Loop or Novobeskov. So I think I will go for Novobeskov anyway, and this looks again a bit more hilly than last time around. So that's definitely fitness peak candidate, and so Naubat Challenge or Ellisbury Cup. So it would be something like this. And then, since we have the Rising Sun Rush, so I'm keeping him. Yeah, so that's going to be the distribution. So I'm foregoing the Weisshorn Challenge again, but I'm cautious how well +1 in mountain will actually turn out. So Ellisbury Cup on the minor fitness peak, or Naubat Classic. I think the Naubat Classic could be interesting. It would be similar to his Vastuk, just shorter. And because the Ellisbury Cup probably doesn't play that much to Vladislav Newfound Strength, whereas Naubat Classic does. So I think that's going to be the plan. So Maxim, Arrow of Timur, Bizarro Sprints, and the Great Lakes Tour. He will suck in the Rising Sun Rush. And that's going to be pretty long, so that's where Vladislav has to make up for that. And then Vladislav focus will be Hills of Vastuk, and that's probably where +1 in flat and +1 in mountain is going to shine, because there is hardly any downhill here. He will focus on the Naubat Classic, similar, though with a bit more downhill, and then Road to Novobeskov, more of with more flat components, but also some hilly things, and overall very varied. So I think that's more interesting, at least, than the Ellisbury Cup. Okay, then we can, I guess, start the season and run the Arrow of Timur again. So he was at 19% towards the next level, because now that's the interesting thing to keep in mind. How much extra XP are we actually getting? So we are now not the top favorite, just in the midfield of the favorites, because I think we have a bit more competition, and Ahana Tourism, because I think they were here last time as well. I remember the blue jersey, so they apparently get some stronger riders, and but it's shorter this time, a bit more hilly, but this may not matter if they can be properly jumped. So let's see whether we can start the season as we finish the last one. Oh, that's very unfortunate. The only thing we can do is go into the hill, and I think that's still the better option. So where do we end up if we go one short of maximum? The second one can be jumped. Not the best terrain. 16, 24, and then across the line. So that works. And I suspect this, yeah, if we don't jump into the first climb, we get stuck into the second, and that's worse. So no. And one short of the maximum. Vladislav is equal, yeah, Vladislav is now equally fast because this has a nice mountain component. So that's awesome. So we see the plus mountain at work already. So again, one short of the maximum. Because here things don't really matter. Again, we are pretty competitive with Vladislav in the second round due to the second mountain. So again, one short of them. I'm running out of attack points, but I'll probably be first across the line anyway. With Vladislav, let's see. I'm now out of attack points. Well, that's fine. So we won that. And fifth again with Vladislav. So yeah, we ended the last season in style and finished this season in style. Despite the wholly different and changed profile. So reasonably easy victory, and not too far behind on 5th place with Vladislav. So a nice points haul to start with. As usual, getting the scouting out of the way. So how much did we get? Oh, we still got a reasonable amount of XP for that victory. So now at 32, so we might actually get another level with Maxim and also with Vladislav eventually, since we also just leveled him and he's already at 23 points. At 23%. So next up are the Bizarro sprints, where Maxim is on his major fitness peak. They look pretty tame this time, although not that sprinty. The second and fourth stage are reasonably long. And that's certainly then something to cover in the next episode.